Backseat Football Podcast. We are back to cover more football during this pre-season. Not much has happened, and yet a lot has happened. It's mostly transfer sagas today, and a little bit of the Women's World Cup. Just one game. I'm sure you can guess which one that is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Hugh. I'm just going to introduce myself because I'm running with it. And today, I'm joined, as always, by Jack.
Hello everyone. Apparently we're doing intros like we've met. It's nice to meet you.
Well,
I'm Jack.
In a way,
it is.
Obviously, it's a momentous day because we are doing video recording today with the hope that this might even end up on YouTube, in which case it's important to distinguish who we are.
True.
So big moves are being made, right?
Very big moves. We talked about it for a fucking long time. And full disclosure, this is like our fourth take trying to get this to work. We're using Riverside. Riverside, if you're listening, it's a bit buggy, this platform, it turns out.
Mm-hmm.
That would be my general feedback. We'll continue, but if you want to throw us a little promo code, I wouldn't be unhappy with that.
That would be great. And we'll plug it every time. Let people know that we're using your platform. Now, Jack does look like a potato on my screen, so I hope that the quality's good.
Just two potatoes.
I'm hoping it works out well. But there you go. But anyway, on to the football. We won't dilly-dally. The biggest story to come out of today, Kylian bloody Mbappe. Bid from Al-Hilal from the Saudi Pro League as they continue their world domination of fucking European football.
Yeah.
I may as well just give you the facts. I think we start off with the facts on what has happened and what I'm talking about. So Al-Hilal have bid today 300 million euros for Kylian Mbappe. Now, from what the media, at least, and the football aggregators of this world understand, it's 300 million bid. It's 1 year contract, which is insane, right? 13 million euros a week for Kylian Mbappe. And then it's just a 1 year contract. So in 2024, he can move on. Now, PSG apparently have accepted it. There's been no talks on the player's side in terms of proposals, anything like that yet between Al-Hilal and Mbappe. And PSG believe that Mbappe has already agreed a pre-contract agreement with Real Madrid for the summer of next year, 2024. So that's where things stand. This is a fast-moving story. Things are going to develop. And we're going to talk about it a bit more. And this does feel like a seismic moment in the kind of Saudi intervention of global football. You know, at the start, when they started, you know, once the PIF invested in those 4 clubs in the Saudi League, you know, I never, ever imagined it would get to this point. I don't know about you.
Nah, I mean, I feel like there's been many seminal moments. Firstly, Ronaldo, that was the first one. He must be fuming, by the way, about to be ousted as the poster boy for the Saudi League. Just a redundant, really? Sort of end of the road kind of career for him. But yeah, I think Ruben Neves was the second one where I was like, whoa, this is a bit mad. But yeah, Mbappe is next level. And in a weird way, the more I think about this deal, the more it seems to make sense for all involved, because PSG, I think they actually might be financially ruined for a short period of time if they let Mbappe go on a free. So this gives them an out and a profit, a very tidy profit on what they bought him for. It gives the player an out and a disgusting amount of money compensation for literally 9 months of work. And Real Madrid get what they want. They don't have to pay for Mbappe. And everyone knows what's happening. The pre-contract stuff is interesting because I'm pretty sure legally you can't have a pre-contract with someone until 6 months. In theory. But, you know, if it was accidentally left on the table where he walked in.
A verbal gentleman's agreement is more likely the case. Yeah, as you say, that is definitely not legal. But, you know, it's long been kind of... It's been touted for a long time, Real Madrid and Mbappe. It's more of a question of when, as a question of if, is going to happen. And, you know, in theory, this deal makes a lot of sense. I think the main thing is whether Mbappe really wants to go and spend a year at 24 in the Saudi Pro League. Now, I think we should split this into 2 parts. The Mbappe side of it, but also the impact on the Saudi Pro League should it go through. Now, let's talk about Mbappe's side first. Yes or no? If you're Kylian Mbappe, do you take the move?
Yes. Categorically, yes. I have never heard a better deal in my life. 700 million euros is what he's expected to earn for 1 year's work. Has anyone ever been paid that much for 1 year's work? Ever? For
Never. I think this would be the highest paid sportsman ever. This is This is ludicrous money. Ludicrous
Yeah.
for a 1-year contract. 700 mil.
The craziest part
remember,
is like tax
there's
will
no
be
tax out
low.
there.
Tax will be low if non-existent. The commercials will be insane. His brand will be insane. And it's just mental. There's no costs. There's no cost attached to it. He just has to turn up and play football, and he will get 700 million euros.
That's insane. It's insane money. And, we've spoken about it before on the pod that Mbappe is quite an astute businessman. So part of me thinks he will take it, because what's the other option? To rot on the bench by PSG? Apparently, it's been made clear that PSG cannot leave on a free next summer. Like, it's impossible. It's impossible. Like, it's not happening. PSG won't allow it. They'll either let him rot on the bench. It's one of them, isn't it? And can Mbappe's ego take it? Can it take it? I don't know. We know he's got quite a big ego on the kid.
Yeah, I think there's just no other option. No one else can afford to get Kylian Mbappe when there's money involved. The only way anyone can buy him is on a free transfer. He's one of them. He's untransferable. Man City, I felt like they were the only club who could do it financially. Maybe Man United, if they got the Qatari money, which looks like that's dead now. So I feel like this is actually the only option that suits all parties, other than letting him rot on the bench. And that's why PSG have accepted the offer immediately. They can make a profit. They can make a world record fee for a player, and then they can just sort of be done with the whole PSG experiment and pretend like it didn't happen. Mbappe's gone, Messi's gone, Neymar will be next, and they can try and be an actual football team.
Well, we know PSG are moving in that direction where they're going to buy talented youngsters, because they've seen the formula work across Europe. Buy the talented youngsters at a low cost, develop them, sell them at a high price if you have to, but PSG don't really need to sell, do they? But they need to get a team ethic back. And I almost feel like Mbappe is a hindrance, despite all the goals, despite all the assists. The attention's always on Mbappe. PSG teammates have already written a letter of complaint about the comments Mbappe's made through the summer, ever since he informed the club that he wasn't going to sign on for another year. You just can't have that in this day and age. Team harmony is paramount importance, isn't it?
100%.
And it's not conducive anymore. It's just not going to work.
But they say of Mbappe that actually, as good as he is a bit of a problem. And there's some like pretty basic stuff. Like every single forward is expected to do a certain amount of defensive work, and apparently he just doesn't want it. He just does not want to do any of it, no matter how much they try and make him do it. Neymar apparently does more than him generally. I mean, Messi famously doesn't do any tracking back, but I think you can allow it. And Mbappe's sort of in the same.
I think you can allow Messi.
But at a high-functioning, like Champions League contending team, you do kind of need everyone pushing in the same direction. You can't really afford to carry any superstars, no matter how good they are. So this might be perfect for him. He can just go smash it and not run back, and then get to Real Madrid and they'll work it out.
Do you think his level might drop if he goes to the Saudi Pro League for a year?
It's a good question. I feel like it might do, but I also feel like he might just break like 100 goals, and he'll probably be pretty fucking sharp when it comes to finishing at the end of it, regardless.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's just you know what it is. It's never happened before. Mm-hmm. The best player in the world currently going to a kind of, I'm going to call it a money league. The Saudi league is developing, and the speed in which it's developing into a top league is terrifying. To be honest, it's terrifying. Like the standard from this time last year it's incomparable. You've got to remember, Ronaldo only went in bloody January. There were no superstars over there, and suddenly you've got pretty much most teams are stacked out with one or two, what we would consider superstars here. Yeah, there's a lot.
100%.
How long before the Saudi Pro League becomes a genuine league?
That's what I was going to say. Do you think there's a scenario where they push to be a Champions League? They push to get one of the league spots, like they've been. Sorry, let me rephrase this. The Champions League is expanding. There are more places up for grabs. Is this all part of a bigger move to inject so much noise and so much capital into the Saudi League that UEFA kind of has to invite them to be part of the Champions League because they bring so many eyeballs and so much sponsorship and so much excitement into the competition? Are they trying to gatecrash that long term and legitimize the league permanently?
Well, it's funny you should mention that, because I've seen some tweets today saying how long before, UEFA and Saudi come to some sort of agreement to include them, even though they're not part of Europe, as this kind of extra member of UEFA, you know? And yeah, I guess that probably is because, you know, Champions League, to many, now I appreciate that in global football, Champions League is only centered around European teams, but to many, it's the pinnacle, including footballers, isn't it? To lift the big ears, the famous cup,
Yeah.
the European Cup. I'm sure the Saudis have got eyes on that because all the Saudis want when they buy golf, you know, when they're doing the horse racing now, they're doing the football now as well. It's all just exposure for Saudi Arabia, isn't it?
Yes.
It's part of their part of the PIF's long-term plan to be, you know, I don't want to say like a global brand, global name, but akin to the same thing. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
To be a name on the map.
Yeah.
So
can you imagine that?
It makes sense they try and muscle in.
Can you imagine that? Like the Champions League music, and you've got like Al-Hilal there in like their fucking yellow kit. It would be crazy.
Stranger things have happened. You know, if you told me last year that Kylian Mbappe seriously might be considering a move at 24 to a Saudi Arabian league, I'd be like, okay,
facts.
What kind of football manager editor save have you got going on here? This is like FIFA career mode gone mad. But no, this is actually real life, and football feels like at the moment just a little bit broken. And I don't know how to feel about it. Like, let's talk about our personal thing. Yeah,
I was going to say, I feel like one thing that's a bit of a shame is in all of this, isn't it a shame that Graham Souness has retired? Because I would have loved to get his 2 cents on this whole thing. The game's gone. I'd have loved to
Graham
get that.
Souness, he's probably having a stroke. You know what I mean? He's probably at home, just like keeled over. Can't believe it. I mean, the state of it, to be honest, the absolute state of it. But I want to pose a question to you based off this. A couple of years ago, you might have heard of it. A proposed idea between predominantly European teams, the European Super League.
R.I.P.
Now, the reason for its inception and what they told us was it was to preserve the integrity of European football. And we all laughed. We all said, no. This is a dumb idea. This is a cash cow grab. You know, like they're just trying to make it less competitive in the Champions League. Now, obviously, with the Saudi intervention coming in, was this the kind of thing that maybe they were trying to protect European football from?
That's a fucking crazy shout, bro. That's a crazy shout. You can't tell me that Daniel Levy and like who's that? Who was the old the like chief executive of Juventus? Agnelli? You can't tell me that they were the good guys in all of this. You can't tell me that they were the heroes we actually needed and we were too stupid to vote for it. This can't be true. This can't be another like Brexit 2.0 where we fuck the vote again. This can't be that.
No, but now like this is happening, you know, like there's genuine money in the Saudi, like money we've never seen ever. You know, like Jordan Henderson on 700k with Steven Gerrard in the Saudi league. You know, this is exactly the kind of thing that they were warning us about. You know, like we need to preserve it. We need to distribute the money against, you know, the top teams. We need to keep eyes on European football. This is all part of their manifesto, wasn't it?
Yes.
So maybe you reap what you sow. You know, however, we opened ourselves up.
Here's another view. It also opens up the possibility to bring in a shitload of buying money out of nowhere. Like if PSG get this 300 million euros, that will then be spent some in South America, but mostly in Europe, you'd imagine. And so there's a lot more money coming into football, which should in theory filter down to smaller clubs.
No.
It's not like people are going to be buying from the Saudi league, are they, at a premium?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but if PSG receive 300 mil, then they're going to have the West Ham problem where it's going to affect the whole market, where the market's already fucked, right? Prices are going to go through the roof. You know, we're seeing it already. Palhinha at Fulham being touted at 60 mil. There's no way in hell he's a 60 mil player at 27, 28 from Fulham. You know, and it's just, I feel like the divide is going to get bigger, to be honest, based off these transfers, because this is the new baseline, isn't it? It's happened when Mbappe moved from Monaco, the same summer when Neymar moved to PSG. Those two transfers are like it's like a point in history when it comes to the transfer market. It changed the market forever. This is why we're seeing Declan Rice at 105 million. I don't know. It's just, for me, it's just going to make the disparity even worse. And when does it end? I can't. We know the Saudis when it comes to sporting institutions. LIV Golf have now merged with PGA. That should be a good kind of example of what the Saudis intend to do. We talked about UEFA.
Yep.
Is there going to be a merger or some sort of agreement? That's what they want. So it's a very interesting time in football, and I'm sure a lot of football purists are, up in arms about it. But at the same time, can we really sit here and begrudge Saudi Arabia investing in their league if they have the money?
No, we're just salty because we're threatened. We're just threatened by their unlimited buckets of cash.
Is that
and their
all
ambition.
it is? We're just insecure.
We're just insecure. We thought we were the big boys over here with the Premier League, and now getting bullied. Like, there's been bids for Luis Diaz at Liverpool, and yeah, that's like, can you imagine that? Just Saudi Arabia, like, just the audacity. And yet, every day that goes on is becoming more legit. Luis Diaz could genuinely turn around at some point and go, I actually do want to go. So it's like, we're getting bullied now.
Yeah, it's life-changing money. So remember, this is a job to people. A lot of footballers, let's face it, don't play for the love of the sport. They do play for the love of the sport, but
not Ben
you wouldn't
White.
get turned if you could quadruple your weekly wage.
Are you worried about Ben
White?
Not
Ben White. I mean, if they want to target a right back at a decent level, then Ben White's perfect guy because, as I say, he don't give a fuck about playing football.
He does not. He'll literally just sit in his hotel room every day, watch YouTube, and then go train, and that'll be it.
He might even like life out in Saudi Arabia. You can't really go outside.
Mm-hmm.
So, as you say, he'll just watch a bit of football. He definitely won't watch a bit of football. Watch some films, bit of Disney Plus. I reckon. What do you reckon Ben White likes watching?
I reckon he likes watching videos where people make ridiculous stuff in the jungle. Those kind of videos. So the people who just build a house in the jungle or make a well out of nothing. I reckon he loves that shit.
Nah, you've got Benny Blanco all wrong. I reckon he watches Towie. Definitely watches Love Island. He's one of them. 100% he's one of them. If he wasn't a footballer, he'd be on Love Island, wouldn't he? Surprised he hasn't been on Love Island, even being a footballer.
He's probably got time. He'd probably argue he's got time. Fucking love that guy.
He's got so much time. So much time. I love Ben White too. My favourite player. So there you go. Okay, final question on this.
Mm-hmm.
Does it diminish PSG's status reputation if it happens?
No, because their reputation's pretty low right now anyway. No one takes them very seriously. So if they suddenly are armed with 300 mil and the possibility to not be so PSG, I think if anything, the curve is upwards. I feel like their reputation's at an all-time low since the money came in. Messi left. They booed Messi. Everyone loves Messi now, so that reflects badly on you. They bottle the Champions League every year. And Mbappe just bullying them and just cucking them. So actually, I think their reputation's pretty low right now. And a hard reset should improve things.
I'll be honest. I'm just going to come out and say it. PSG fan base stinks. All right? And if any PSG fan base are listening to this, then take a shower. You stink. You absolutely stink. You lot.
Yeah. There's certain things you don't do. And booing Lionel Messi after he's bagged 20 goals and 20 assists, that's one of them. You don't do that to football royalty, Bit of respect.
Absolutely. That's PSG fans have no respect. And speaking of Lionel Messi, it's been a big week for Lionel Messi. Now, we know he signed for Inter Milan on some... You know what? His deal's not even great compared to what Mbappe is being offered now. He must regret not going to the Saudi. They offer him $1 billion or something ridiculous.
I just want to correct you. Lionel Messi hasn't signed for Inter Milan. It's Inter Miami.
Sorry.
But yeah, I think he's on a fair whack. But do you know what? I've realised is that even if the money is not so good, he's got a certain amount of money or revenue sharing within Apple.
There's
and
royalties
Nike and other
as
brands.
well. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's he's actually creating a legacy brand like Michael Jordan. So even if the money's not there initially, it will be there for the rest of time, kind of thing.
There's also rumours as well that we could create an MLS franchise once his time's done over there. Or they'll have
just
the option
David Beckham.
In the same way that Inter
just
Miami.
David Beckham.
Yeah, exactly. You can imagine.
Yeah,
that,
I feel
right?
like Lionel Messi, he's got it all there. He'll have a shoe line at some point, just like Jordan's. I feel like he's got it all mapped out now. and he'll just settle down in, I don't know, fucking Florida or some stupid place like that, and he'll just create another super team within the MLS. And maybe he feels like the MLS will actually be legitimate at some point, and it will start getting bigger and bigger, and actually be another permanent contender to the kind of European superiority. Maybe Saudi Arabia feels more like a sort of like a fad, just like a big spike in interest, and then it sort of dies off. Feel like America's got more chance of being permanent.
Yeah. I mean, he's had links to Miami as well. I think he owns a house in Miami. I think it's somewhere that he frequently travels to. So at this age, with an amazing deal that he does have, that fair enough, probably wouldn't be Saudi money. You know, I think family choice came in a lot with his decision making to go to Inter Miami. And you know what? After all this, he seems like the best of the three when you compare Ronaldo, Mbappe, and Messi. Right? He almost feels like he's taken the morally right decision to go MLS. But also MLS is just a cash cow on a lower grade, isn't it? And I think because we're Western, we're a bit influenced. You know what I mean? I think there is a fair amount of mistrust with Saudi Arabia, which filters in to our reporting on it and our views on it.
100%.
And I can only go back to that point when I say, can we really sit here and admonish them for trying to develop their league? And, you know, it's not anyone's fault. They've just got unlimited funds. If anything, we should have seen this coming. And maybe we should have done the Super League to protect us. But there you go. We're spending too much time on it. We're talking about Inter Miami. Did you see the free kick?
I did. It was great. It was glorious. What a debut. Would you say it's a better debut than Ibrahimovic's debut where he scored that 40-yard bicycle kick?
Oh, it's hard, isn't it? It's hard. Arguably more impact from Ibra. But I think it's just seeing Lionel Messi in the MLS doing what he does, a 94th minute winner. And also, I know this doesn't really mean anything, but to Americans, it means quite a bit. Did you see who was in the crowd to watch it? You've got Serena Williams. I think LeBron James was there. I think Tom Brady was there. He's like sporting superstars over in the US, all out to see the greatest of all time play ball.
I do sometimes wonder
it's really
if the average American, if they actually understand how good he actually is. Because I'm not sure if it's quite sank in for a lot of Americans that they've literally got arguably still the best player in the world, and in my opinion, the best player of all time. I'm not sure if they understand that because they have quite insular sports. They don't really look at sports outside of American sports where they dominate. So I'm not even sure if people understand, and this almost just rubber stamped it like, I'm here now. Look how fucking good I am. I've got Inter Miami their first win after 15 matches without a win. I am here. It is done. Points on the board. It's pretty mad. And they're building a little Barca testimonial team around him with Busquets arriving, Jordi Alba arriving, Luis Suarez rumoured to be gagging to rejoin the band. It's great. It's
even
so
Iniesta.
Great. I expect Dani Alves
even Iniesta is being rumoured.
Nice. I swear you're only allowed so many foreign slots in MLS. I thought it was only 3 per club.
No. MLS is flexible in it. They're like, oh yeah, he'd be good for MLS. Get him in. We'll find a loophole. And the thing is like I think all the MLS clubs contributed to Lionel Messi's package.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a unanimous decision amongst all the clubs, which is something that you would never see in any other league in the world. And that's what I like about MLS. We do laugh at it, but they are quite forward thinking. You know, they do try and think of different ways to kind of market the MLS. Like, let's even talk about the pre-seasons that's going on now. You've got the summer series going on with the Premier League clubs. You know, like again, raising the profile. There is one thing before we go to break I wanted to talk about. I was watching the CBS panel about this. It was after the MLS All Stars. Whoa! So the best players amongst the MLS teams this year played a friendly against Arsenal. Got walloped 5-0, and now, you know, the pundits are saying like we need to stop doing this because it's affecting the MLS reputation. Because their argument is, and it'd be good to get your thoughts on this. Us as football fans only watch American soccer. I'm calling it soccer because if I say American football, it gets confusing. We only watch it when our teams are over there, and then we watch someone like Arsenal play against the best roster. I hate that word. The best.
You're
team
giving me the ick
made
right
all
now,
the best
bro.
players
I'm not going to lie. This is unpleasant to listen to.
Yeah, the best roster. And they got beaten 5-0. And, again, we're just sitting here like, yeah, they're trash. And then another year passes and then the same thing happens.
I'd
is there an argument that the Premier League teams are devaluing their brand?
I'd say overall, firstly, when you pluck a random team made up of just random individuals, they're obviously going to be pretty bad when they're just playing a one-off friendly, as opposed to a functioning, highly trained, high-performance unit like Arsenal. So it's not really a fair competition. It's not like FIFA where you're just like, I'm going to be classic 11. Chemistry is going to be perfect. Everyone's going to be great. It's just random people. It's like Soccer Aid. It's like putting the Soccer Aid people against Arsenal, basically, except they're just fit and can play football a bit of this. It's really real competition.
I don't think Americans really understand that part. Do you know what I mean? Obviously they do, but they have the All-Star game with the NBA, for example, and I'm sure that's way more competitive. So they're probably trying to translate that over into football. But like you say, Arsenal's team, fair enough, it's pre-season, so we're going against people that are in the middle of their season, and yet, as you say, Arsenal have been playing under one coach for 3-4 years now, and have a lot more chemistry. And you can't just put all these teams together. But I do respect what they're trying to do with MLS, and I didn't like the whole. I don't know if you saw that after Arsenal lost to United in the friendly, they just did a penalty shootout just cause stuff like that.
Yeah, that was really weird.
Football fans laugh, I think.
Yeah, but they're just not. They're just not serious. Like, it's not serious. For example, let's be clear. The only reason that all the MLS teams contributed to Messi's deal is because there's no risk involved. There's no money involved. There's no relegation. So there's no threat of anything going wrong. It's basically just, do you want to bring in a superstar that will help all our brands? Yes, I do, actually. Will it affect me? Not really, other than this cost. It's not like asking fucking Watford to put in 20 mil to bring Messi to the Premier League and being like, probably won't benefit because you'll be down next season. It's different. They're not like a serious league because there's no threat of relegation. There's no bonus.
But they want to be a serious league. They want to be.
Then they have to introduce it. It's just fun. It's just gentle. It's just a friendly league. Everyone has fun. There's just playoffs and some fucking silly shit, and there's parades and halftime interviews. It's not serious. Basically, there's no passion to it.
Are you saying then?
I think
it's a structural problem.
It's like entertainment. It's entertainment as opposed to sport, I think, in MLS. Although it is sport, but it lacks that I don't know, Sunderland winning 1-0 at Chelsea to secure survival. They'll never have that kind of high or the lows of watching Sunderland.
Okay. Before we go, arguably, isn't technically then all American sports, NBA, NFL, isn't it all just entertainment then?
It is
sport entertainment.
Sport is entertainment, but I think you don't get the highs and lows unless there's the jeopardy. That just doesn't really come. You only get the highs in American sport. There's not really major lows, cataclysmic lows. It's more I didn't win the thing. I'm pretty sad. Next year we go again. And I guess that's just American culture, though. It's all about everything's awesome and we're all winning and blah blah blah. It doesn't like to think about losers or real life consequences. Yeah.
There you go. There we go. It's a cultural thing, and that's why MLS will never compare to the top leagues. They need to change it from top to bottom. Love that. Okay, we're taking a break. When we come back, we have more stuff.
Goodbye.
Who told you, bad man? Don't dice.
Oh, welcome back to From the Backseat from a Podcast. I don't know what to say about that. Let's just move on. We're talking transfer.
We are talking transfers.
We're talking transfers. And first up, Harry Kane
with a weapon
Munich.
In my arm. Sorry, I'll stop. Yeah, Harry Kane. Ooh. Now I'm putting this in, even though we covered it last week, because it's been reported by Bild, and whether or not you trust Bild, the German tabloid, or not, is up to you. Harry Kane's wife, the missus, has been spotted in Munich looking for houses and schools.
Ooh.
Now,
Has she actually?
that is a big development. Well, it's been
That's
reported.
interesting.
I don't fucking follow Harry Kane's wife, all right? Just to be clear. Because I'm not a fucking stalker.
It'd
be a bit weird.
Unnecessary clarification. Yeah.
I'm sure plenty of Spurs fans would like to follow Harry Kane's wife so they can actually find out for themselves whether their talismanic striker is actually going to leave the club this year. Now, again, today there's been developments which I didn't add to the notes, so I'll just add this in for you, Jack. Joe Lewis, the actual owner of Tottenham, has categorically said to Daniel Levy, the Spurs chairman, that he can't leave on a free next year. You know why? Because they can't afford it. They can't afford to lose 100 mil. I'm telling you. Of course they can't. Honestly, Spurs fans are in denial. Do you think he's just going to let him walk away for free, man? Now,
if they do...
Son Heung-min... Sorry, I was just going to cut you off. I just called him Hung. Son Heung-min has also been very coy on Spurs' future. I can't fucking talk. On Harry Kane's future as well. Non-committal. He doesn't know. All right. All signs are saying it's still up in the air. Now, I said it from the start. I think he's going to go to Bayern Munich. Fabrizio Romano is reporting that they're going to put a record bid for Bayern Munich to lure him to the Allianz. I think it's going to happen. I think it's going to happen. So, Jack, I'd be keen to get your thoughts.
Well, in light of all that news, I don't feel like they've got an option. Although if I was Spurs, I'd be extremely savvy and send Daniel Levy to Saudi Arabia immediately, because they can get a bidding war going and some sort of Kylian Mbappe style deal where, Harry Kane, you can pre-agree to join Bayern Munich in 2024, but you're going to Saudi Arabia for 1 year of service, and we are taking the £150 million as a result. That's what I'd do if I was Daniel Levy. But knowing Daniel Levy, he'll just ignore all of this, turn off his phone, and then try and negotiate and just keep Harry Kane. That's what I think is going to happen still. Daniel Levy doesn't sell players. That's not what he does.
Daniel Levy doesn't sell players, no. I know a lot of Spurs fans are in denial about it, but you got to think logically. Is there any point losing him on a free next year? Or just reinvest 100 mil this year?
No. We said it on the podcast, and it's like both options are bad because, number one, what are Tottenham playing for next season? Qualifying for top four, maybe? Is that really worth 100 mil to maybe do it? They're not even in the top six, favourites for top four. So after that, what's the point? But then do you trust them to take the 100 mil and reinvest it wisely? Absolutely not as well. So damned if you do, damned if you don't. But 100 mil
They've made
is
some
better
good
than no
signings
mil.
This summer. Agreed.
We said that last summer, though. So
yeah, we did actually. We did.
Let's see.
But I don't know. James Maddison seems like a good signing at 40 mil. That Italian goalkeeper, when they couldn't get David Raya, at least they have backup plans. They do have a sporting director in place now, who was, I think, formerly heading up the city over in Asia and Oceania. Yeah, so I don't think it'll be purely down to Daniel Levy making decisions, or the Australian general manager, who, fuck knows what his name is.
The big Aussie.
Andre Postecoglou. Yeah, I don't think it'll be purely down to them. And, Richarlison can do a job up front. I know people will laugh at that, but actually that he's just been shunted out on the left-hand side, which is not his position. I think we should look at Brazil national team Richarlison, who's good. Mate, he's good. I think he's a good player. I think he's just been...
You know how you say that there's a few players like Iheanacho that I've got a soft spot for? This is one of those. You're not seeing it. You're not seeing it. Those rumours linking him to Real Madrid have gone to your head.
No. I'm seeing it. I saw him last season.
He's above average. He's above average.
Yeah, but if you're putting him on the left-hand side, mate, he can't run. It's like putting Harry Kane on the left and asking him to track back. It's stupid, in my opinion.
Yeah, but he didn't score any goals, I don't think. Maybe he scored one goal.
He scored one Premier League goal.
That's mental.
Okay, but he scored 4 offside goals. So, do they count?
Yeah, okay. Oh, wow. Do you get paid for those? Do those count? I don't think they do. He's rubbish.
No, but I think it's unfair. Rubbish. If you play a player out of position and then say you're shit. I think that's just really naive on everyone's part. Like, at least give him a chance up front. And I think the team's so catered around Harry Kane at the moment. I almost feel like Spurs as a team will benefit because I'm sure at the moment they're just like, right, get the ball, pass it to Harry, and hope that he can do something. And we've seen that. You know, Ronaldo got amazing stats in that first season at United at the detriment of the team. I'm not saying, because Harry Kane's a lot different. He's deep lying. He makes things happen. He's one of the best all-round centre forwards in world football at this time. I'm not saying he's holding Spurs back. I'm just saying maybe the other players will be better when he's out of the team. Or as a team, output might improve more.
Yeah, in the massive vacuum that Harry Kane will leave, others will fill it and they will step into it, undoubtedly. But he is, however, in my opinion, the greatest Tottenham player by far. And so it will be a slow evolution because how do you replace someone so good in so many ways? Like, you just can't. It's going to take a bit of time.
No, you can't.
Tottenham are going to go through some mediocre times.
You can replace him if you sell him for 100 mil. What you can't do is let him go on a free because then you can't replace him. And if they don't get Champions League football with him next year, then there's no money. There's no money to get. Like, they're not going to do it, but they could get Osimhen, with 100 mil. They could go all in. They could get Rasmus Højlund, who United are after, with the 100 mil.
Yep.
They could at least do something. Whereas I think if they leave it another season, they can't do anything.
I agree. He should be sold. He probably won't be sold because that would be far too logical. But I do agree that it makes sense to sell him. What I do want to say though is this transfer getting a risk of Bayern Munich just, how like Real Madrid decided they wanted to buy Eden Hazard and they just kept going until it happened and it was a disaster. Are Bayern Munich at risk of just they're too invested in this whole like transfer saga now? Have they stopped to think of 100 mil on Harry Kane at age 30 is good business? Because what if he gets knackered, immediately? I feel like, I know he's really good, but it's like, it's very short-termist, and it feels very out of character for Bayern. I worry if they're just panicking that they're getting left behind now. And it feels like a big risk to me.
Well, what they're trying to do is they're trying to fill the void of Robert Lewandowski. They didn't have a recognised centre-forward last year, apart from Choupo-Moting, who's probably not up to scratch. I think there's probably hopes that Sadio Mane could play centre-forward for them, but it just didn't work out as they'd hoped. And I think there's still 5-6 years in Harry Kane because his style of play isn't really built on pace. It's just game intelligence, right positions, finishing from anywhere. I don't think there's a lot of risk attached. I think he's going to go to the Bundesliga if he does and absolutely smash it, win like 5 titles. And I'm sure he wants that. I mean, we have to remember, like, this has long been over his head, and as much as we can joke about him never winning a trophy, as a footballer, the pinnacle is to win trophies, and I think the sheer record almost means more to us as football fans because it's such a monumental achievement than it does to Harry Kane. Why do you fucking care at the end of the day? He's already going to be one of the best strikers in the Premier League. He's already the England top scorer. Like, why does he need the Premier League record? Surely he'd rather play in the Champions League for the next 5 years. There's no guarantee of that at Tottenham. Like, he hasn't played regularly in Champions League. Well, he's never played.
Maybe not one season. Maybe.
No, he's had quite a few seasons in the Champions League, in all fairness, but never with a team that was competitive to win it. Obviously, they got to the final in 2019. Great, like that. That's a shame. That was their chance under Poch. That was their chance under this team, and he's going to be too old for the rebuild. So I think you should let him go. That's all I'm going to say on it. Tottenham fans, let us know what you think. I know what you think already. You want him to stay. Every single one of you. There's not a single one who thinks he should be sold. So there you go.
I don't blame him. It's hard to let go. But anyway, let's move on. Let's talk about the World Cup. So the Women's World Cup is underway. We've learnt, long-time listeners will know this. We had a very ambitious project in December, which was to cover every single World Cup game. And we did it just about, but at the cost of sanity, I would say, and general quality of content. I think it was pretty horrendous by the end. So we've learned from that, and we are just covering England. And if you're not from England and you don't agree with that, then you can just come back in and listen to it in like 10 minutes, probably.
Well, if you're a misogynist and you're not going to give women's football a chance, then now is the time to leave because you've watched about 40 minutes of this anyway. So in terms of monetization, we're absolutely fine, gang. We're absolutely fine.
Nice one. You can go. Thank you very much. So where the eyeballs are, it's all of the toxic men They're going to be a large part of our viewership. We salute you. Stay toxic, Kings. Anyway,
I was about to say,
toxicity.
toxic men, stay. Jack's more woke than me. I'll be the toxic one.
Amen.
I think.
So yes, the Lionesses, they're off the mark, and they have beat Haiti 1-0. And having watched the game, I don't feel particularly proud about this result at all. It was, I'd say, on balance, a draw would have been fair. Haiti had a few good chances, just a couple of really good saves, a couple of some bits of woeful finishing, but overall, the only goal of the game was pretty diabolical from start to finish. I almost feel like it's worth referencing the fact that there was an initial penalty claim that came before, which, on initial watching, me and Hugh were like, don't know what's going on there, don't really see what the appeal is. Slow-mo, oh my days. It was savage. Like, she's just, one of the Haiti defenders has just raked her boot down the leg of one of the Lionesses. And it is pretty bad. I'm not really sure why it wasn't a pen, but life moves on. And then one of the most gentle handballs ever.
No, let's go into that efficient, because I don't really understand what happened. It went to VAR, and we should talk about this as well. The ref was mic'd up. The referee had a mic and was telling us what she was doing, which was amazing. So that should happen across all formats of football going forwards, because that was
big
great.
Fan.
We said referees need to be more accountable for their decision making, and I'm so happy that this is obviously being trialled. Well, I was not aware of this prior going into the World Cup, but yeah, she was just telling us why. But I still don't understand why, because she said it was no pen, but she still booked the Haiti defender. So I didn't know you could do that. So it wasn't a pen because there was a foul in the build-up, right?
That was my understanding.
Is that what we established?
But somehow she still got a yellow card. It's that grey area. Do you know what this is? This is the Jordan Pickford grey area of violence, where after a foul, you're allowed to commit murder because it's technically not in the game. And I guess they just closed that loophole.
I'm all for that. You know what I mean? I'm actually all for that. I think it was a yellow card. And I think regardless of what happened before, that was still committed.
Yeah.
And could have genuinely been a really, could have been bad consequences to a challenge like that.
I am also pro. I'm pro this decision because it was a fucking bad foul.
Yeah. Yeah. So that happened. And then next thing you know, there's another penalty appeal.
Yeah.
And this time, the Haiti defender's just gone for a volleyball technique. Like a block over the net, which I can't understand.
It's a bit of this, little fingertip save.
Yeah, don't know what's going on there. I don't know why you're jumping up like this.
Very weird behaviour. It was very bad.
Very strange. Very strange.
And so you think, right, Georgia Stanway, just going to slap this in, no problem. Very good pen, saved by the Haitian goalie. And we were like, what is happening? Like, what is actually happening in this game? And then just cap it off. Just to cap off why this is such a sad goal to win a game with. It was retaken because the goalie, having made this incredible save, was over the line when she made the save. She made a little jump forward just before contact was made with the ball.
She moved off the line.
We're talking milliseconds, though. Like, if you freeze it in the wrong frame,
maybe half a second,
it looks pretty bad. So it's just like, it's just grim at that point. Like, you've had a penalty saved already for a really stupid handball, and then you get to retake it. It felt like the referee wanted England to win, and I know it's not that because the application of the rules was accurate and logical, but that's just the feeling you get from it, is that it's a bit of a sour victory, but a victory is a victory, and we take the wins.
Yeah, you just, in the end, you just felt sorry for Haiti. Like it's their first ever time qualifying for the Women's World Cup. They played really well. Arguably they had better chances. I can't think of an out-and-out chance for England beyond, an open play. I can't think of an out-and-out chance beyond the penalty, to be honest, for England, and that's a real worry.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's been quite a few hours since the women's team have scored from open play, which is very national teams men of yesteryear, isn't it? Which is just playing for corners and playing for set pieces. And the women's team, especially over the last couple of years, especially since Wiegman's taken over, have been playing, free-flowing football, scoring for fun. Now, Alessia Russo was on the pitch. Lauren James didn't start, and she came on, didn't really have the desired effect, if I'm honest with you. And the best chance of the game fell to Haiti in the 80th minute. where Mary Earps has just pulled off an absolute wonder save to kekeep it 1-0. Really?
Yeah.
That was the chance, wasn't it?
I think we both let out an involuntary noise when we watched that save. It was pretty special because it was just like such an authoritative big boot out of nowhere. It's kind of save where you're just like, that's the game. She's not getting beaten today, you know? The confidence it instills in the whole nation. She's a bit of a baller, really, isn't she? I was saying it reminded me of David De Gea because he's obviously renowned for saving with his feet as opposed to his hands. And it was that same like authoritative big boot that just denied it. It was a sick save. It was
the
good.
Outstretched left boot. Yeah, it was. Yeah. It was a really incredible save from Mary Earps, to be honest with you. But you know, a win's a win. If we go through in the tournament and we get to the latter stages, no one's going to remember how we beat Haiti. It's important that we did beat Haiti. So all credit to the Lionesses there. And commiserations to Haiti, who showed more than enough mettle for the World Cup. You know, if they can perform like that every game, then they've got every chance going through as well. There obviously are some very strong teams. I feel like Brazil, for me, are the favourites, based off the fact that they won like 5-0. But really, the US women's team must be up there, as always. You know, the superpowers of women's international football. So it's going to be a hard one for England to win. But they did win the Euros, didn't they?
Yeah, I just feel like the squad's a little light on some of the like best talent is not there, like Leah Williamson and people like that. So that's a bit of a worry. But, you know, end of the day, the team is still the European champions. And if you don't have 2 of the players, or 3 of the players, that's still a lot of good players in there. There's still a lot of winners in there. So I'm not too worried so far. And it's not like I've ever seen any England team win a World Cup, so I'm not exactly stressing out if they don't win it. It's just business as usual, really.
Business as usual. Right, one more section, and then we're wrapping up this inaugural recorded video pod. We have no idea how we're going to edit this, by the way. So if it does make it up, then please smash the like button because we have worked hard tonight to get this going.
Amen.
Right, I've chucked this in because I want to talk about Pochettino's Chelsea. However, I forgot that Brighton got a red card in this game that we're talking about. So that makes sense. It was quite an even game up until that red card, in all honesty. So,
do red cards
we're just
count?
going to review. I mean, Chelsea have kind of...
Quick question. Do red cards count in friendlies? Like, will he now be banned for an actual game or will he just be banned for friendly games?
No. He's not going to get a ban. He's just off the pitch, isn't he?
So it doesn't count. He's not banned for the next game. Like the first game.
What's he going to be banned from?
I don't know. Just seems
why would
inconsequential.
The American Summer Series carry over to the Premier League? It's like Champions League football and Premier League football. Why would they cross over? Come on, mate. We're doing it. It's season 2 of a football podcast. You can't be asking shitty questions like this, mate.
So this offside thing, what's going on there then? What the fuck's going on with that?
Yeah, what else you want to ask? Jesus Christ.
It's been a long day.
Goodness.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah. Anyway.
Van der Heck's banned from the first 5 games of the season because...
I knew it.
Why not?
Well, all I know is if he enters the summer series again, he's going to be in big trouble. He's not going to be playing.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, it's a good question because with American rules over there, anything could happen. But no, as far as I'm aware, there's going to be no bans. All right, it should qualify as no bans. Anyway, it's a hard one because after watching the game, I you know what I mean. I was actually a lot more even. Arguably, Brighton could have got a 4-4 here.
Yeah,
but I do want to touch on Chelsea because obviously, a lot of criticism after last year about their team, and you know, a lot of criticism for their transfer window so far, where they feel. Mm-hmm. Well, they've kind of gutted Chelsea, haven't they? In a sense. The Chelsea that everyone knew from the past 4 or 5 years. That cycle's done.
It's confusing.
This is a new team.
We were saying earlier in the break, we were like, it's actually mental. They've literally sold an entire, very solid starting 11 already. And watching this game, I honestly, and I don't know if this is just because I'm just getting older, I was genuinely finding it hard to keep up with who was on the pitch and like who everyone was because it's like there's so many new players and it's not just new signings. There's like Matson who's come back from loan and there's like Mallow who's now playing. He was on loan. I am struggling a bit with Chelsea and when they play 2 left backs on the same pitch and then they switch out those left backs for more left backs, it's just scrambling my mind. Like, how can they have so many left backs and so few midfielders and have bought so many players? It's a bit wild to me.
Right. There might have been a bit of a pause there because I'm not going to lie. Jack just turned into a potato. So I hope that he can hear me right now. And I'm just going to
I can hear
draw to
you.
my head that I heard that.
Everything's
Okay,
working
cool.
for me.
So I'm just going to stab in the dark. It is a new team. Cassidy was in the middle. I've never heard of Matson in my life. Lewis Hall made a return. Colwill playing against his former club, albeit on loan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, new Chelsea, completely new side, and they looked the better for it, I have to say. Pochettino has them playing a very familiar football for anyone who watched that young Tottenham team when he took over. We're thinking about 2016, 2017 here. And there was a certain swagger. I mean, they scored 4 goals. I cannot think of the last time Chelsea scored 4. Did they even score 4 goals last season in a game? I don't know if they did.
That is a really, really good question. I don't know.
I don't think they did. So, just to see them score 4 goals and play expansive football. Yes, they conceded 3, but I think if you ask Chelsea fans after last year, would you rather win 4-3 every game or, have high-scoring games, a bit like Klopp's early era, where it was just like 4-4 every game.
Or just draw
stodgy 1-1, lose 1-0. Yeah, do you know what I mean? It's an easy question. Chelsea love a bit of attacking football. Do they? I don't know if they do, actually. I'm thinking of Mourinho's era. It was all defensive. Anyway, there's some players I want to pick out. Now, anyone who's listened to the pod, and if you have listened to the pod or watching this, then we really appreciate you. We really appreciate you. We're doing YouTube for you, primarily. And then we're going to get a Patreon and make you pay more money for our dodgy content.
Oh,
anyway,
yes.
Mudryk. Finally scored.
God.
I don't know if he scored before. Again, I don't think he has. But that goal is disgusting.
It's a naughty goal.
I feel like that is the blueprint for the future, isn't it? Nicholas Jackson being the focal point that they desperately needed, somehow having better hold-up play than Lukaku ever could, even being a slighter man. And just that one-touch little lob, the lob back, and then the one-touch, bang, volley bottom corner. Oh, my goodness.
It was really good.
That was incredible to watch.
It was a really, really good goal. I'm loath to do this, but Brighton did have 10 men at that point. I'm just going to throw it out there. And it is a friendly. So
They did.
I'm not too impressed, but the bar is so low with Mudryk that seeing him score a sick goal, it did feel quite satisfying. And Nicholas Jackson, mate, never heard of him, but he's just one of many generic signings that have been made on 8-year contracts. I think he was the last one of the golden era. But yeah, he actually looks really good. I'll be a little bit annoyed if Chelsea have finally broken the curse and found an actual striker because they've gone through so many. And they seem to have like a cursed shirt.
It's the number 9 curse.
Is he number 9 or is it Nkunku now or is it someone else?
I'd be surprised if anyone takes number 9. I'll just steer clear of it if I'm a striker, if I'm honest with you.
100%.
Unless you're that confident that you can break the curse. But many a man have tried, starting with like Shevchenko, Torres. I could go through it. Even go back far as fucking Adrian Mutu. If you want to go there.
It's glorious, isn't it?
It's
glorious.
It's been a redundant number. It is glorious. But you feel like Nkunku and Nicholas Jackson as your 2 strikers, that's really good options for me. Nkunku also got a very nice kind of instinctive goal. Nicholas Jackson, now I want to give you some stats here. So far in 2 games pre-season, a goal and 4 assists. I think that's pretty good stats, to be perfectly honest with you. His finish in this game was excellent.
Those stats are so good.
I just think they're looking like a prospect.
They look good. They look very different, don't they, really? They look much more Pochettino-esque, and I like the fact that they're playing 4-2-3-1, no bullshit, just straight into the GOAT formation, which has become a bit redundant in recent times in football. So it's nice to see it back with all of this inverting fullbacks and all this stuff. Just a throwback. 4-2-3-1, put the man in the hole, counter-attacking, high press. I'm here for it. It was great football. And I wonder who's going to be the breakout Chelsea star now they've got all these talented youngsters. Pochettino loves a talented youngster. Is Chukwuemeka going to be like the new Mason Mount? In a year's time, we'll be like, wow, well. He's like a 60 mil player.
He played really well.
There's so many of them. Mad.
Well, that's it. Cassidy has got a lot of potential. I thought Malo Gusto looked really good at right back, and they finally have a decent option to back up Reece James, who will inevitably only play about 50% of the season. As Piliqueta just wasn't cutting it towards the end of his time at Chelsea. So maybe we're going to look back at this summer and see that they actually made the right decision. Maybe clearing out that whole team, as brutal and as nonsensical as it seemed, at this time, maybe it'll make sense once the season starts because, yeah, it's a stark difference to how they played in pre-season last year under Tuchel when we smashed them 4-0 over in the States. I know pre-season shouldn't be the barometer, but we were shit hot Arsenal last season, and that continued into the Premier League. And I think and Chelsea were dog last pre-season, and that carried on into the league. So I just feel like maybe they've turned the corner. I think lessons obviously been learned, and maybe they're going to have actually a really decent transfer window. Maybe they have had a decent transfer window. I'm sure there's a couple more surprise signings to pop up. So that's it. That's all I want to say on Chelsea. There you go. Joe, friend of the pod. I hope you're happy with that bit. Finally praised them after a year.
We've had a few grumbles, but in our defence, what else was there to say about Chelsea? You literally spent like £1 billion within about 8 months, and you were 14th. Never seen anything like it in my life. So, yeah, but signs look good. I'm not sure what the point of all the transfers were, just to get to this point where you just bin everyone. But I guess if it works in the end, there's method to the madness. I don't really get it still, but
I guess the point is that, as you say, they have a completely new team to the one that lined up last year. That's the point. And maybe this is the team that they want. This is the team that's needed. Maybe that shows the team we're at the end of the cycle. Maybe Bowley's a genius. Time will tell. Time will tell.
Big
But
maybes.
with that, we're going to wrap it. This is the end of the inaugural recorded pod.
Yeah.
I can hear someone coming through. Oh, there we go.
1 second.
We're going to go.
That was a close one.
We're going to go. We're just going to hope that noise pollution didn't come into the recording. But yeah, thank you for listening. It definitely did. Hopefully, this is going to be the first of many. Go listen to it on Spotify and Apple Music
all of them,
as well.
All streaming platforms.
Yeah, just
love it, listen to it, watch it,
like it all.
And if you have any really horrible football takes, please send them to us because I would love to talk about your horrible football takes and how horrible they are.
And if anyone can answer the question on whether you get a ban going into the season from a pre-season game, please put this one to bed because I think Jack, he's confused.
I am tired and confused. Aren't we all these days? Aren't we all? Aren't
we all? All right. See you next week. Thanks very much.
Goodbye.